I was just sitting and watching the monitor because Tom, he's just so good, and it's amazing how much he can kind of summarize, and he can take everything an audience is feeling, and he can answer it in a look.
You know, I saw Top Gun when I was 12 years old on the big screen. I remember my impression of it, and you know, as I started working on the film, I definitely got a sense of what it meant to people, because they were coming up to me and asking me questions about it and asking me if there was going to be a volleyball scene. And so you start to feel the pressure of the expectations.
I mean, yeah, it feels good. And
it feels supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah.
It feels good. Yeah.
And people have kind of been asking me about that, and if anything, I'm just really excited for the fan base.
36 years later, we're here.
I definitely felt that and felt beholden to the fans and to Tom and Jerry and, you know, the people involved in making the original movie.
As soon as I got cast, then I was very aware that they've been waiting. You know, there is passion as Marvel fans or any fans in the world about this movie, and I'm just really excited for them to see it, because I know we worked really hard, and based on the first reactions, it seems like we did a pretty good job.
To be able to be here with these guys and do it, to get to work with Tom, to get to fly in an F-18, to bring this movie back and be a part of it, you know, all these years later, is, you know, to Tarzan's point, it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It makes it even better. We all get to be here together and ping pong off each other, so it's amazing. Yeah.
As daunting as it was for people like me who weren't in the first film, I think it was probably even more so for Tom and Jerry Bruckheimer and everybody else to revisit those very familiar things, and yet they're so far away. So I certainly haven't had the experience of I don't think many people have, of working on something that has this much time between the first chapter and the second, but it somehow works. It provides a real sense of nostalgia while also continuing to tell the story.
I've certainly, without, I think, the juxtaposition of, you know, Goose and then how I walk, you know, into frame in this movie. I'd never had people tell me, like, oh, you look like Anthony Edwards or you look like Meg Ryan. But Tom, when I did the first hair and makeup test with him, really the first camera test, and I came out and I'd been growing the mustache and we lightened my hair and I had the tan and I was in my flight suit, he was like, oh my God. He's like, you look so much like Meg Ryan and Anthony's kid. This is definitely gonna work.
By the time we ended up acting in the F-18s, like, Tom had built such a great program that we weren't just ping-ponging up in the air, like bouncing off the walls, but rather he gave us the confidence to be able to make choices in the air and to start. He just gave us freedom up there through the beginning, but at the start, I was afraid of flying. So I was like, I had to get over that fear before being able to even have confidence. But by the end, we were all just up there ecstatic.
From the beginning, Tom and I said we don't want to do the cover band version of this film. It is Maverick. It is his story. It's a new story. There's gonna be a lot of new characters. It's gonna feel like a Top Gun movie, but it's gonna be shot with the latest technology. We're gonna raise the bar in a lot of different ways.
It really, our camera department, and, you know, Claudio Miranda, who was our cinematographer, being able to get these cameras in the cockpit and to be able to capture footage in that environment, but also that space, and for those shots to be able to also be used in IMAX. I mean, really, they invented these cameras to be able to do it, and the Navy didn't think that we'd be able to get one camera in there, and we got 6 cameras in there.
It's wild. It's wild. And Tom is so good at that, like working on developing that kind of technology to be able to capture extraordinary stunts and action sequences. So I don't think anyone does it any better than him.
Mostly it's just being around his energy and his enthusiasm for not just this film, but the general process of making movies is really infectious.
I really enjoyed the process of watching the way Tom works and you know, the way how smart he is about story and how much he works to kind of find and refine story as we go. So it's very much a kind of, you know, work in progress and living thing, you know, the story.
It's a real thrill to get to work with Tom Cruise, especially on a franchise that so clearly means so much to him and his career, and you know, it was essentially the start of his career. You know, it made him a global box office megastar.
He does what he does very well.
Every single day, we'd be sitting there, and you just like look out, and there's like 8 F-18s just there, and Jon Hamm is there, and Ed Harris, and Tom Cruise. You know what I mean? It was this crazy thing of like every single, and then you turn around, and Jerry Bruckheimer is standing behind the camera with Joe talking about something, and Claudio's like tweaking a light, and every single day was this thing of like, oh wait, we are really making this movie right now. It was a
dream team.
Yeah, it was a dream team. Yeah.
Normal day at the office.
Normal day at the office.
It then became normal, but then at that point we were not operating at a normal rate. We were then like, we had met them where their excellence was at, which was what the exciting part was, because you look back, it was all incremental growth.
But I like the bar. It was a great. They built that bar for the film. It didn't exist, and it was built on the beach, and it was a great set. It was so good that a lot of the people in San Diego that I spoke to were campaigning to keep it there. And so I thought the set was great, and I thought it felt like I liked the atmosphere of the place, and I think it, you felt like Penny as a character had created this really warm community.
There is a moment where we're all on the carrier, and there's a moment with Maverick that I was just sitting and watching. I was just sitting and watching the monitor because Tom, he's just so good, and it's amazing how much he can kind of summarize, and he can take everything an audience is feeling, and he can answer it in a look.
The first day, it kind of hit me because I was standing out on the runway. We had the Ninja there, idling. We had an F-18 Super Hornet on the runway ready to take off. The sun was about to set. Car pulled up. I was told, someone wanted to see me. I go over to the car, I get in the back seat, and there is Maverick for the first time, just in his full gear. And I think that's when it hit me that we're actually making this.
Like every department head was the best at what they did.
Yeah.
Fizz, unbelievable.
You know what it's like? Have you ever watched any of those like ping pong tournaments? And like you're like, how do they move that fast? Like, how were they so good? And you're like, I could never do that. It was that.
Yeah.
Like it was.
And by the end, we're just like 10 feet from the table, just
ping ponging back and forth. It's crazy.
Forrest Gump. You were Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
We all felt it making this movie. Tom, me, Jerry, everyone on the cast and crew. We wanted to live up to the legend of that first film.
I thought it was a nice place to meet, an interesting place to meet Maverick at this point in his life. I thought that, I liked Penny's character a lot. I think that the character journeys were really well structured.
It's a really wonderful balance between nostalgia and looking at the first one and paying homage to the first one that Tony Scott did on the first film, and continuing the story. And I think what people are genuinely emotionally responding to in the movie is that obviously the movie doesn't take place the day after the first one ended. It takes place 36 however many years afterwards, and Maverick has grown up, and Iceman has grown up, and we've all grown up in the ensuing years. And I think that that's where you get a lot of the real emotionality coming from the story.
It's part of that's part of the visceral experience that you're getting, with this movie. There's theaters now that are like 4DX, where the chair is moving, and I don't think it's for cinephiles, but I think for this movie, it's, I think it should be pretty fun.
It's gonna feel like a Top Gun movie, but it's gonna be shot with the latest technology. We're gonna raise the bar in a lot of different ways. And it's meant to be seen on the big screen. It's a real movie, meant to be seen with an audience, packed, big screen, big sound.
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.